me remind myself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unlock the Science of Beauty. And my name is Zakia Donaldson. I am the founder of the Science of Beauty, and I am here today with the lovely Taylor Martin. Hey, Taylor girl.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Hi,
Great.
everybody.
Hi, everybody. So before we start, we are guests in the My Ivana living room. So I would like to thank our sponsor, My Ivana, for powering this episode of Unlock the Science of Beauty. You know, you have to, when you are a guest in someone's house, you have to be, polite. So, hey, Ivana. Hey, My Ivana family. So we're going to get right into this, and I have the honor and pleasure of introducing Miss Taylor A. Martin, who is a cosmetic scientist and project manager. She is an alumni of XU. I just learned that, girl. I just learned that.
You're gonna be doing the dance when we get down there.
She is an alumni of the illustrious Xavier University of Louisiana and continued her education at CUNY.
CUNY.
CUNY,
Yeah.
okay, and obtained a MS in biochemistry and became a general chemist adjunct lecturer. Ooh, prior to gaining several years of experience in the beauty industry. Taylor worked as a bench chemist for top brands like the Estee Lauder Companies. She currently manages commercialization space and new product development at Bath and Body Works. So all the little stuff y'all be spraying, that's her.
It's me.
Okay? Taylor values community service and gives back by leading beauty industry career days at a local NYC High School and being the co-founder of a networking group called Behind the Scenes of Black Beauty. So everyone, let's welcome Miss Taylor Martin. Thank you so much, Doll, for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I love the introduction.
Amazing. So we are going to hop right into our conversation. Can you walk us through what inspired you to pursue cosmetic science and how your studies in biochemistry connect to the beauty products we see on shelves today?
Absolutely. Okay, so I was inspired by cosmetic science pretty much from loving science. So I have 2 degrees in science. Undergrad, I did chemistry, master's is in biochemistry. And so I was always curious about beauty products, and I always played in my mom's makeup when she wasn't looking. And I was just fascinated by perfume and scents that my mom and grandmother wore. And then my aunt, I think she's the reason that I am so curious about beauty products because she always had 1,001 of them in her house. She always had the newest hair products, the newest body care products. And every time I went over to her house, I had to try every single one of them. And so I never even thought that science and beauty were intertwined until I spoke with one of my professors at Xavier University of Louisiana. And she explained to me, that there was a career option in the beauty world in cosmetic science. And so it was really appealing to me. So I really just started telling everyone, I'm going to be a cosmetic scientist. Didn't even know how, didn't know what I was going to do to get in there. I just told everyone that's what I was going to do. And so it just worked out that way. And so I'm glad I kind of manifested it. Sometimes you have to speak it into existence and you don't know how it's going to work out. You don't know where you're going to go. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to go into beauty and use the science degree. So I would say having a master's in biochemistry, one, that was not an easy feat. And sometimes I don't know how I did it. But that degree I use every now and then. I wouldn't say all the time, but occasionally it comes in handy. And so it pretty much helps me with understanding key functions of the skin, of hair, how the body metabolizes certain proteins or enzymes. Um, and it also helps me with understanding how products perform. So, for instance, biochemistry, you're going to need to understand processing of ingredients. So, how hair retains moisture, that's all about, biochemistry, how the body functions, also just chemistry in general. And then formulating products to address these concerns is very helpful in understanding how the ingredients interact both with each other and then also in use on your skin or on your hair. So, understanding how ingredients are absorbed into the skin helps with selecting those ingredients that you use in your product. For instance, hyaluronic acid is it's a key word. Everyone loves it, but if you have a large particle size of HA, it will not penetrate your skin and it will do nothing. So, formulating to know that is very important. And then you also have some other keywords that are coming up in the industry with microbiome and maintaining skin pH and probiotics. So people want products that work for their body and are more natural, have a more natural interaction with their skin. So a lot of companies did a huge reformulation on their products to remove sulfates, which are usually used in surfactant systems for body wash or hair shampoo. And sometimes that can be harsh and stripping on the skin and the hair. And so, because consumers are focusing on healthier skin and protecting things that are naturally there, they're removing a lot of the sulfates if they haven't already. But I do want to put on the disclaimer, all sulfates are not bad because they like to scare people, and it's not
Girl, they
all
be like,
bad.
ooh. You be like, it's not all bad.
Not
It's
all
not all
bad.
bad.
Don't it's okay. It's not all bad, but fear runs things sometimes.
Yes, and I think your story hits home with so many women that are in this space. They just had a love for cosmetics, they had a love for beauty products, and they just didn't even know that something like this exists. I hear that sentiment echoed every time I talk to someone like, "Hey, how did you find yourself in this space?" And it just takes that little spark for someone to bring it to your attention, and now you
Mhm.
walk around with your whole chest out like, "I'm going to be a cosmetic
I,
chemist."
I'm gonna do it. I don't know a lick about cosmetic science, but that's gonna be me.
Listen, we'll figure it out as we go. So, our next question: having worked both as a bench chemist at Estee Lauder and now managing new product development at Bath and Body Works, what are some key differences between creating formulas in the lab and bringing a product to market?
So there are a few differences, but there are also a lot of similarities between the two roles, and that's why it was really easy for me to pivot between the two. So I'll start with some of the similarities as well, just to bring that in. So a lot of the similarities are you have the same goal. You both want to bring a new product to the market. And then you also want that product to be different from other products. So you do want to focus on that differentiation that you can do in development and also just in your language when you're bringing the product to the market. And then you also need to have an awareness of industry trends and new ingredients and have an understanding of aesthetics and feel and texture for your products. So in the lab, there's more of a focus on the formulation side of things. So really understanding how the formula comes together with all of the ingredients in there. You're really just the building blocks of formulation is important to know. And you also focus on the stability of the product because you want to make sure that this lasts on the shelves. You also need to focus on micro. Again, this all goes into really formulating it, but these are all the different things that we do have to pay attention to as we're developing this formula. Um, so micro is important because you don't want mold growing on your products. So all those people who say preservatives are bad, please stop and put them in.
Listen, preservatives go save your life
They will.
and
So if you
the lifespan of your product.
exactly, they will save your life. So when people say it's all natural, no preservatives, I'm like, y'all are crazy, but okay.
Like, girl, you
Um,
got 7 days to use it.
maybe one if it's hot. So put the preservatives in. You also have to pay attention to levels of certain ingredients that you use when you formulate, and especially for different body parts and for different products. So, for instance, there's an ingredient in SPF. Again, it is not bad because Don't think I sat here and told you that something was bad. But there's an ingredient that we really can't go over a certain level. So let's say we can't go over 5% of this ingredient. And it's not because it's bad, it's just because the tox team just feels like it's safer to have it at a lower level when using it on your body. So you do have to pay attention to levels and toxicology, and it can get a little complicated sometimes, but it's all fun. And then you're also concerned with scale up in the lab. So when you're formulating, you know that this product is going to go to market. So you're going to go into production. So you need to connect with the engineer team and make sure that you're formulating with a process that works and that can be scaled up. And you're working with ingredients that can also be used in a larger scale. So that's the main focus in R&D in the lab. And then when you're more on the project manager, product development side, you're really creating the product from ideation to launch. So there's a stronger focus on the presentation. So one, you have to search for the white space in the brand or in the market so that you can determine what product you want to create. Then you bring that idea to all the other teams so you can kick off this development and give them direction for what you want in this new project. And so you're working more closely with marketing team, design, and packaging to ensure that the product will launch with the right story and that it resonates with your consumer. And then you're also going to be probably in charge of formula approvals. So making sure that the aesthetic is what you asked for, that it operates well in the packaging. So it's more of a overhead approval as opposed to R&D, who really does the meat of the of the work.
Yeah, I'm glad that you touched on that because we kicked off the Science of Beauty STEM program at Spelman College yesterday, and the first thing, yes, girl, we is on the roll, and so the first thing I did is I had a business of beauty panel where there were beauty insiders and people that worked in the beauty industry that might not work on the formulation side, because I wanted to expose to the girls that there were so many other entry points into the beauty space that don't involve you being in the sciences. And I think you really just spoke to that, the differences between like actually being an R&D where it's solely focused on formulations, whereas bringing it to market, you're looking from the marketing side, the branding side, the product placement side, the advertisement side, like how the story is going to be projected to the consumer. So that's one thing that I really talk to my girls about, like, yeah, this is a STEM based program, but there are so many other avenues and spaces that you can work at in beauty industry. It could be, you can work in regulatory, you can do law
Mhm.
in beauty space, regulatory, making sure that the product is it, you know regulated properly, and has the right disclaimers and labels so you're not getting sued 10 years later. So there's so many different
Mhm.
avenues to go, and I think like right now STEM is so hot and everybody wants to focus on formulations, but there's so many other
So
opportunities
many.
in the space.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's so many different opportunities just in STEM as a whole. And AI is really coming through in the beauty space as well. So all the tech girlies, all the tech guys, like you can still bring tech and beauty together and make some amazing products or apps for your consumer as well. So it doesn't just have to be in the lab. Um, and yeah, there's a place for everyone in beauty. That's what I like to say. It's space for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're trying to debunk that, right? Because it's like, you're in the lab and it's like there's a world outside of the lab.
Mhm.
So let's go into our next question that kind of leads us into it. What are some of the challenges you face as a Black woman in cosmetic science? And how do initiatives like behind the scenes of Black beauty help address those challenges? So before you answer that, tell us a little bit about the organization that you co-founded called the Black Beauty, behind the scenes of Black beauty.
Yeah, so Jasmine Johnson and I, we met at Estee Lauder a few years ago, and we've been friends ever since. And I can say it's a friendship. It's a few of us from Estee Lauder, but it's a friendship that one got us through working there, and then has also carried us through, everyone's current careers now and lives now, because you definitely need that core group of people who look like you to help you through certain situations, to give you guidance, support, encourage you. And so I think that's really where we stemmed from behind the scenes of Black Beauty, because we wanted to bring a community together where you could be safe and have people who look like you. You don't have to code switch. You don't have to dance around certain topics. You can be real, you can be raw, you can have those conversations. And that was one of the driving forces between behind the scenes of Black Beauty. So far we have hosted 2 networking dinners, which were amazing. Ah! And we did a happy hour last year as well. So this year we're really diving in to see how we want to grow the community. Everyone who does come to our events really says thank you, and they appreciate having this space. And it's for people at all stages in their career, which was also important for us, because we didn't just want it to be high level VPs or managers. We wanted to also bring space for entry level people, and also students who were interested in the industry, to give them the space to really network in person with people who are already in the industry, so they feel safe and they have someone that they can connect with. So those are some of our driving points for the industry. I mean, for creating behind the scenes of Black Beauty.
So I will say, honey, that behind the scenes of Black Beauty reach is long, honey, because I was at the summit, the Black Beauty's
Uh-huh.
stimulus summit at Spelman, and it was right on the heels of Suppliers Day, and at least 5 to 7 students approached me and told me they had attended your dinner in New York during Suppliers Day, and they were able to connect and network and just talk to people, that were in the spaces that they were trying to be in. And I think that that's very important, because we do understand that the beauty industry is not as inclusive as we would like for it to be, right? And so
Mhm.
stepping into a corporation like Estee Lauder that has tens of thousands of employees all over the world, you know, the likelihood of seeing someone that looks like you is very small, right?
Mhm.
So the fact that you guys were able to see each other and recognize the need for something like this, because I'm sure, there were discussions when you guys were coming up, like, hey, if I had somebody that I could look up to, somebody that I could pour into me, someone that could mentor me and kind of help me navigate this space that is just so new for young Black women. I think that was important, right? And
Mhm.
the fact that you guys saw that it was a need for that and actually created it, and it is successful, and it is helping young women navigate through that space, men and women navigate through that space, is very, very important. So one thing I kind of want to go off, I had mentioned Suppliers Day, right?
Mhm.
Which is an event that just recently passed. Can you talk to the audience about like the importance of being in places and spaces like Suppliers Day when you're in this industry, trying to break into this industry or trying to grow in this industry?
Absolutely. So Suppliers Day is a huge beauty industry trade show for innovative products. You'll see people from manufacturing, you'll see small indie brands, you'll see raw material suppliers, fragrance houses. It's really just everyone. And they actually expanded it this year, so it's humongous. And also in those spaces, they'll have fireside chats, they'll have lessons where, you can take a lesson on formulation. So it's really educational, but it's really just a space for everyone to come together, learn, network. Um, and it's a great place to go if you're starting out. If you are a student, because I suggested a student go, and she actually remembered the conversation I had with her, and she made it a point to go to Suppliers Day, and she found one of the formulation classes that they had for students. And when I tell you she had a ball, she found me after. She was like, "Yeah, we made this and we did that." She was so happy, and I was just like, I'm so glad you did this and you showed up." So they have something for everyone at all stages of your career. And it's also a great space to speak with people and understand what they're doing in their career, how they got in their career. It's a great place to network. Bring your resume, bring your contact card, share your information. But also, when you do that, make sure that you're following up with people afterwards as well, because networking is not just a one moment kind of thing. You also have to pour energy into it afterwards. So, as long as you're going into Suppliers Day to learn more about formulation, learn more about ingredients, and also to network, it will be very fruitful for you no matter where you are in your career.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think that's a step a lot of people skip, right? Because I remember when I was coming up, and I was working as a fashion stylist, I used to attend the Magic Show twice a year in Vegas, which is similar to Suppliers Day, but it's for fashion, right? And I would go out there, I would meet brands, I would see new brands, I would meet the PR reps, I would start building a rapport with them. So when I was working with my clients, and when we had projects and events and things like that, I already had the resources that I needed to complete the job. And I just think that, nowadays people see this space as being so like cool and fun and trendy, but not really understanding like how you get to where you think you want to be, how you cultivate these relationships, how you have to invest in yourself. Like you said, you told that student about Suppliers Day. Not only did she hear you, but she took action, right?
Mm-hmm.
She sacrificed, she invested in herself, flying herself to New York, putting herself up in New York, just taking a chance of going out and speaking and talking to people. And I think that's like something that's lost right now, with this next generation kind of coming up, like not really wanting to cultivate meaningful and lasting relationships, I think.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. I see that across the board in personal life and in in my career. But it's very important in both. And I really do think that if people put a lot of energy into their networking, they would probably get a lot further. They would learn more. So I hope that's something that, you know, kind of is a wake up call for some people. But
Yeah, like I'm an advocate of networking. And I always tell my students, of course, you want to network up, right? Everybody wants to network up. But I was like, if the president of Bath and Body Works walked up to you right now, what conversation could you really have with them, right? And so
Mhm.
I always tell them to network laterally, right? Just like you and your partner did. You guys were at that same level, right? And,
Mhm.
and that's how it works. You guys are at the same level. You have common interests, common goals, and you never know who's going to end up where or who's going to pop first, right? But
Mhm.
if you've already built that relationship while you guys were kind of on the come up or on the grind, when one of you takes off, now it's like, oh, let me call Taylor, or oh, let me call Jazz. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's easier that way, as opposed to thinking that you can just go straight to the CEO, like hook me up. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
no, it does not work like that.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. And I will say my peers have been very helpful and supportive, just sharing ideas with them as well. And sometimes you need to ask them who they know too and connect through your peers because that's also important. So yeah, I definitely think connecting with your peers is up there in networking as well. And don't remove the idea of speaking to the CEO because you never
And
know when you
now
might
listen,
the
if the
CEO.
opportunity presents
You
itself,
never know when he might walk
I'm
in.
ready.
So stay ready, for the CEO. But use your peers to practice to speaking to the CEO.
Yeah.
So you can definitely use everyone in your network to prepare yourself for the CEO.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel the same way. Like you and I, even our connection,
Mhm.
was built through finding each other on LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn.
Yes,
I'm tired of preaching this to the people. I'm tired of telling this to the people.
yes.
Every meaningful interaction and connection that I've made in this space has come from LinkedIn, like
Mhm,
no lie. And they
mhm.
have been instrumental in me scaling and building the science of beauty. Like I got people supporting me that I have never physically met in person. it's
Yeah.
crazy, but it's like when you build something and you're consistent in what it is that you're doing, people see it, and people want to help, because everybody kind of has the same vision. Everybody wants to grow this space for African American people, women, young boys, young girls. And so when you see people that are doing things in that space, it's just easier to kind of rally behind them and rally around them. And I always say, if you see someone that's doing something, help them get to where they're supposed to be or they need to be first. And once that happens, then they'll open up the floodgates, and then everybody else can come in.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And also, just you mentioned being on LinkedIn, but be proactive while you're on LinkedIn. Reach out to people, because that's how we could have just connected and that's it. But we connected and spoke to each other, so that's how
Like,
like that's how
send
the
me your
connection.
email and let's get on the Zoom. Let's put a
Yes,
Zoom on
I
the
was.
calendar right now.
One of us was like, hey, let's connect off, like I'll send you a Teams link. So you have to do that. Like, reach out to people and say, hey, I'm going to set up a chat to just talk and learn more about what you're doing. Or I have a question about this. It doesn't have to be a long chat. It could be a 10-minute call. Have your questions ready and put yourself out there. And that's for anyone, not even someone who's starting out in the industry, but even people who have been in the industry for years. Like, you still need to connect to people and reach out to them. So LinkedIn is a great way to do that.
Baby, my friends will tell you I am the LinkedIn mascot. I'm going to advocate for LinkedIn every time. I was like, y'all can stay over there playing on Facebook and Instagram. Catch me on LinkedIn.
Hello.
Yeah. So
If
if you
you
guys
want to
have
get
any
stuff done, get
questions,
on LinkedIn.
yo, for sure, every day. So
Hmm.
if you guys have any questions, please, please, please put them in the chat. We'll be answering them throughout the webinar. And so let's go to our next question. What advice would you give to students who are interested in both STEM and beauty but don't know how to merge those interests into a career?
Um, so I would say, one, expand your mindset around STEM. A lot of times people hear STEM and they just think research or pharmaceuticals or nurse or doctor or being in somebody's room on a computer for technology. And it's way more than that. So I would say expand your mindset just in general, not just in beauty, but across the board. And then learn more about the beauty industry, because it's immense with so many different career paths. Because even when I first started out and I started in the lab, I was so confused at how many job opportunities and just career paths there were. I was like, what do you mean there's a micro team? Like, what do you mean there's people in clinical labs testing the products on people? What do you mean there's an engineer here? We're not building cars. So there's so many different jobs in STEM that you could do in the beauty industry outside of formulation. And I would say stay curious and always ask questions to people who are in the industry. LinkedIn, as we said,
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn, send us a check.
LinkedIn,
Send us a
I
check,
had
LinkedIn.
to plug it real quick. Get on LinkedIn, ask people questions. There are people who reach out to me like, hey, I'm interested in joining the industry. Can we just chat for a second? Of course. So do it. Reach out to people, even if you don't get a response. The more people you reach out, at least you'll get, one or two responses. And then also, I would say look into some of the programs that they have in the beauty industry. And Spelman is amazing. I'm so excited for this program to be developing, especially in an HBCU. But if you're not in Spelman, that is not your only option. You can always get a master's in formulation or a master's in product development. You can get a certificate in any of these things. There are plenty of internships in the beauty industry. And I will also say, don't just focus on STEM internships in the beauty industry. Focus on all of the beauty industry internships, because you never know what's going to spark your interest and you never know what you're going to learn in a different area of beauty. So just keep your mind open.
Yeah, and one thing even about, like you said, not focusing just on STEM opportunities. Once you in, you in. I tell you all the time, just get in.
Just
Once
get
you
your
get
foot in the
in,
door.
it's so easy to maneuver once you're in the building than from the outside, shouting from the rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that you said that really touched me was about the follow up, right? Like, even if someone reaches out, if you reach out to someone and they don't respond, that doesn't mean a no. I will tell you, Candace, who's the CEO of Myavana, I emailed Candace for about 6 months. Email, DM. I'm leaving messages all up under her posts, all of the things. Nothing. Crickets. Zero. And I went to New York last year and I went to a fashion show during Fashion Week. And my Ivana was one of the sponsors. And I was like, oh, that's her. I beelined over to her. And I had my 30-second elevator pitch. I told her what I had going on. And she was like, oh my God, I've seen you reach out to me, but I've just been so busy. So even if she didn't respond, she read it. She was familiar with what I had going on. She saw the consistency. She saw me keep reaching out to her. So once I had that opportunity to talk to her and I kind of was able to bring it and pull it all back together, she was receptive of it. And here we are. Now she's hosting our
Mm-hmm.
our program. So you have to keep going. It can't be something that's just one and done.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
For sure, for sure. So, next question. How do you balance science, creativity, and consumer trends when working on a new product development at a major company like Bath and Body Works?
I would say the first part is me automatically thinking like a consumer. So I love, again, I still love to buy products and try them all and smell them all. Like that's something that has not gone away from me. It probably should, because my bank account is like, girl, why do you need another eyeshadow? Why do you need another blush? And I'm just like, because it's new. So being a
Somebody,
consumer,
somebody has to try it and
somebody
experience
has
it
to
and report back to the people.
like maybe I want to bring it into BBW. I got to see what the competitors are doing.
Now I got to see what the competitors is doing.
You always got to
This
see
is
what they
market.
keep an eye
Listen,
out.
put this down under market research.
Exactly. This is benchmark. This is patterning. You need to see what's on, what's going on in the industry. Seriously, we go on patterning trips. We'll go into the stores. We'll see what other brands are doing. Oh, it's a thing. Everybody does it. Yes, it's like what?
What?
Yes, we go
Wow.
patterning. I'm telling you, it's a thing. It's better when you do it on the company's dime and not your own, but hey.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody's not that blessed.
I know. So yeah, I would definitely say starting with, I think like a consumer and I love to shop and stay on top of the trends. And I do that also by having sometimes when I'm doing this, it's easy to have a focus when I'm doing it for BBW and really understanding the brand's DNA and really what resonates with our consumer, because that'll help me in narrowing down what's all on the market, what these magazines are saying, what's on TikTok. So really having focus on that is very helpful in balancing the creative space and also the trends. And I also have to be very intentional with what I'm focusing on. So whether it's a trend report or it's TikTok or it's cosmetic magazines, I really have to be intentional with the time that I spend on on all of these platforms, with reading. Because sometimes on TikTok you can get a little distracted. So you definitely have to be
Girl,
you can
big
be on
time,
there for a while. So you gotta
big
really be
big
intentional.
time. They put something
It's a
into it.
drug.
It's a drug. It's a hard drug.
It's a
Like,
drug.
girl, a couple of weeks ago, I found this girl and she was talking about her body skincare regimen. Girl, by the time I got finished, I was $240 out at Amazon. I'm ordering all the
Everything.
body scrubs. I'm just like, oh God, how? How did I get here?
How? How did we get here? It's a drug, and the TikTok shop does not help either.
But
Uh,
it's a valuable driving force in the beauty industry. You have to pay attention to it.
Absolutely, you have to. And then also collaborating. I think a lot of that is sharing ideas with my peers, as you said before, speaking with your peers is so important because sometimes they see things or new products that you didn't see. So we'll be in on a Teams chat with each other, like sending new products, like, oh, did you see this launch? Oh, did you see this launch? So it's important to just collaborate and communicate with everybody within the industry as well. And then in terms of science, I think science is just always in the background because when I look at these products, I'm looking at the IL. I'm just like, is this for real? Like, what are y'all having here? I don't know. And sometimes I'll still buy it just because the marketing was that good. But, but
I know you ain't fall for the okie doke, Taylor.
sometimes I have to try it. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? The marketing is just really, really good, and I like the way it feels and smells. So we gonna take it. Even though I know it's not doing anything, but sometimes you just gotta play stupid sometimes. Because if you went in with all the knowledge you have, you probably wouldn't buy anything but the black soap and the shea butter.
Right. Like we just gonna keep it real basic.
Real
And
simple.
we gonna take it back to Mother Nature. But you're right. Sometimes the marketing it just like take my money.
Yeah, it gets you. The marketing really does get you. I mean, that's really what it is. Um, so the marketing gets me sometimes, but I don't mind it.
No, for sure, for sure. I get that. So can you share an example of a product or a project you're especially proud of and what made it meaningful for you?
Absolutely. So it's actually a product that just came out. It might be out in stores this month, but it's pretty much two SPF forms and then two after sun care forms. And absolutely love these products. One is a SPF gel to oil, and then the other one is an SPF stick. Obsessed. I use it all the time. I think it should be in stores now. I think there was a little issue and it was a little bit delayed, but hopefully it should be in stores by the end of the month. And then there's also an aloe gel and a 2-in-1 aloe shampoo body wash. And I love all of these formulas. One, the SPF products look so good on anyone who puts them on. Like your skin will be glowing in the sun. You won't get sunburned. It has great claims, so 30 SPF. And we have some water resistance on those as well. So I'm just proud of those products because the two SPF forms were my first OTC products that I made from start to finish. And OTC is, if you think formulation is tough, OTC is worse because the amount of stability you have to do on that, the amount of testing that has to happen. And they gave very tight, unrealistic timelines, and I met them. So I was proud of myself for that.
So how long did it take you to bring this product to market?
So pretty much development started last year, the beginning of last year. And so we needed to build in time to one, pass OTC testing, and then also, which is stability. So you have to do stability on for pretty much 6 months, and you have to do 3 different production batches. So it takes a while just for the stability, and you have to pass for that. And then before that, you have to go through formula stability. So it's, from creation for a year. Usually OTC products take a long time to put out on market. So just starting from scratch and bringing these products to life within a year for them to be on shelves is pretty amazing. So very excited for that. And then for the aloe gel and the 2-in-1 aloe shampoo, I just love them because they're great formulas. They feel really nice. And it's gentle cleaning with the body wash and shampoo. So I use all the time. And I like the fragrance for all of it. So those are highlights for me. And I'm very proud of those projects.
Nice, nice. Now, let me ask you something because I feel like sunscreen is such a quote unquote new thing for African Americans, right? Because for so long we were told that we
Y'all
don't
will
need
burn.
sunscreen.
Y'all will burn. You will burn.
You
You
will
will
burn
burn.
too, sis. You
Yes,
will burn
you will
too, right?
burn. Skin
And
cancer does not care
it
how
is
dark
not
or light you are. Put on your SPF, please, so you don't
daily,
burn, so you don't
daily.
get skin cancer. Come on, guys.
Yeah, let's be responsible.
Let's be
So
responsible. It's so
so
funny.
with that myth, How exciting and proud are you that the first product, that you really brought to market was an SPF, as it relates to the myth around it with African Americans? I'm pretty sure that had to be, very symbolic as well.
I think so too. But I even before I put this product out, you can like my friends know I will put on my SPF. I will reapply because you're supposed to reapply when you're out in the sun all day. Don't just put it on in the morning. Put it on again multiple times on the beach, at the pool. So my friends know I will always pull out that can and spray myself up, and I'll be like, "Oh, do you need some?" And they're like, "No, I'm fine." I'm like, "Okay, well when you burn, I don't hear anything." Um, and I will put SPF on throughout the year, even when it's hot, even when it's cold. And it's funny because one of my friends, we were at Mardi Gras one year, and it was cold outside, but I know the sun is still out in the winter, or even when it's cold, the sun is out, and that's why you need SPF when you go skiing too, because the reflection off of the snow. But I told her, I was like, you should put some SPF on your face, and she was like, no, I'm fine. I'm not gonna burn. I'm black. Like you're lighter than me. You're gonna burn. Who had a burn on their nose? Who got burned? And then she had to text me
Not
on the
I.
side. I
Not
didn't, but she did. She had to text me on the side like, "Oh, you were right." I said, "Next time, just take it. Like, just take the SPF, sis."
like,
So,
sis, I'm a whole chemist out here. Like, why would I lie to you?
why would I not? I'm trying to help you out. Um, so I think as a whole, we just need to have more conversations on SPF and wearing SPF and the differences between mineral, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's, mineral is gonna give me a white cast, or it's not gonna help me out. But then you can also find a really good chemical sunscreen as well if you want, or if you do mineral, then just really rub it in. Um, like a lot, like just stand there for a while and rub it in, if
Just
that's what you
blend. Just
want. Yeah,
blend.
just give your face a massage, okay? But work that mineral SPF into your skin, okay? And I also think there just needs to be more. So I think I didn't answer the question on like challenges of a black woman in the industry, and I think one of these moments plays into it, because brands will release products that don't look good on us, whether it's SPF or lip, knowingly, right? So I think
Knowingly. Okay.
they know, but they just don't listen. There's another story for that, but they know and they don't listen. So I think there just needs to be more technology or more openness to using better technology, because there are a lot of good mineral SPF filters that will not leave a white cast. And so why these brands aren't picking up that technology and using these ingredients is beyond me, but they exist and they're out there. Um, so I just hope that as trends improve and as ingredients become more popular, brands will be more open to looking at better options for mineral SPF for people of color.
Yeah, and then also, as these girls come up in programs like the Science of Beauty, we raising the next group of disruptors, right?
Yep.
Because I think that brands aren't paying attention to us because we're not making enough noise, right? And we're not in the spaces and places that we need to be to actually have a voice, and so that's why I'm encouraging the girls like, hey, don't just be consumers, you know get in the rooms where the decisions are being made, and where you can speak to the plight of black skin, the plight of black hair, and how things affect us, and have that voice. So that's the real basis of the science of beauty.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's definitely important just to bring them awareness at an early age as well, so that they know that this is a possibility for them and that they can join or be a force within the beauty industry as well. And we need that. We need more diversity. It has been more diverse since I first joined the beauty industry. It's, it's a lot more diverse now. But we still need to bring community for the newcomers to come in, because if they come in and they don't have, any support or structure through this, you know, that's, I don't think that's right either.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and like I said before, everyone I talk to in this space, nobody has a linear path, right? And everyone kind of stumbled upon it, and or kind of thought about it, but didn't have a course of action. And I think that's very important for us as the elders in this space to kind of leave a blueprint for the people that are coming behind us.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. And that's why I like to do a lot of volunteer events or career days and just bring this information to high school students. Um, it's just important to get this out because when I was growing up, most of it was be a doctor, go to, be a nurse,
Be an engineer, go
be
to
a
law
lawyer.
school.
It was like those just don't sound appealing to me. Like, even
Like
though
I'm
I was,
cool. I'm cool on all of that.
yeah, like I'm good. Even though I did go to Xavier for pre med, by the time I was ready to graduate, I was like, I'm not going to medical school. I had to break the news to my mom. Like, I think I texted her and probably just like ran away from the
You
phone. Like,
so scary. You so scary. You supposed to stand on business like mom.
I did. That's why I put the phone down and walked away. Because there was no discussion after that. It was just like, this is what just happened. I dropped the pre med. I'm not going to college. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Like,
How did she respond to that?
she was a little bit probably heartbroken. So I think she was a little heartbroken, but I mean, she's very proud of me and excited for this cosmetic journey that I've been on. So I think she was just very happy that I graduated college, that I went and got a master's. So I don't think she can really complain. She's on the call now, so she better not complain.
Child, she'd be out like, yeah, Taylor's doing wonderful. She's doing amazing things. She's over at Bath and Body Works, creating products and things like that. She's doing
Exactly.
all the swag. She's re-gifting to all of her friends. Yeah, girl, she's somewhere bragging on you, girl. That's what the
Oh,
parents do. They
absolutely.
be
Oh,
all heartbroken and devastated when you break the news. But I think when you find your way and they really see you thriving and they really see you
mhm.
happy. I mean, I went through that with my dad. My dad's an engineer. And when I told him that I wanted to be a fashion stylist, he was like, "No,
Like what?
I didn't spend all this money for you. No, Sakia, no, 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 no,
Hmm.
no." And I think once he saw me, working and traveling and working with these amazing artists and on these big projects, and I wasn't calling him asking him for money, and I
Hmm.
was, taking care of myself and doing all these wonderful things. I think he kind of was like, okay, well, she might be,
She's made a lane for herself,
yeah, she might
but she's
be, she might be
happy,
into something.
and she's happy.
Yeah, and she's
Sometimes,
happy. And she
yeah, sometimes you have to disappoint your parents to make yourself happy. Love you, mom.
love you, Taylor's mom. She's doing amazing things right now. Yes, yes, yes. So we have one last question. Why
Hmm.
do you believe community engagement, like leading beauty industry career days, is so important for the future of the beauty industry? And I think we've kind of touched on that sentiment
Hmm.
throughout the conversation. That's something that both you and I hold near and dear to our hearts. So, just how do we kind of put that into perspective of the importance of helping shape the future of the beauty industry?
Um, I think it starts with reach first. So just constantly speaking and sharing your knowledge is very important. Again, when people reach out to me, like, I'm interested in being a cosmetic scientist, like, can you just have a 5 minute call with me? Absolutely. Like, say yes to the people who are interested in coming in and say yes to the people who show you that they're dedicated to this. Um, because as I've been mentored being in this industry, and so I feel like I need to return that favor as well to other people who are interested in coming in, or students, or even peers. So once you gain knowledge, I feel it's important to share it as well. And so I think just bringing this awareness at earlier ages will help fuel the industry and make it more diverse and bring that new energy, bring those fresh ideas and different cultures. Because I also think as people get older in the industry, they kind of get stuck in their ways and they kind of lose focus on what's new and what's fresh and what's innovative because they're just stuck in their mindset. And it's no shade to them, but it just happens. So you need to bring in young people. So why not start having those conversations early on and helping them out early on and giving them a pathway into the industry so they're not just why do you want them to struggle coming into the industry like we struggled? You don't need
Exactly. It's like
you're not gonna do that.
you took the shot so that it can be easier. Like you always
Mhm.
have to pay it forward. And that's
Mhm.
one thing that I'm very, very adamant about because like you said, I was heavily mentored when I was coming up. People opened so many doors for me and allowed me, to really thrive in the fashion space. And so it would be amiss of me not to
To
do the
do it.
same,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Because you have to pay it forward. That's the only way things become better. That's the only way that things grow. Like I'm fourth generation in my family in the beauty industry, but my predecessors, they were more on the service side as opposed to where I'm more on the education side.
Mhm.
But there's not a doubt that I'm standing on the foundation that they've laid, right? Like I remember being 11 years old, driving to Atlanta from Tampa, going to the Bronner Brothers hair show with my grandmother and walking the floor and just seeing all the platform artists and seeing all the activations and the brands and all these things. And it's like it shaped so much
Mhm.
in my mind. And actually, when I was here last week for the beauty summit at Spelman, they actually had us at the Marriott Marquis, which was the hotel that I used to stay at when I used to come up here when I was 10, 11 years old. And so it was just like a full circle, a full
Full
circle
circle
moment.
moment.
And like you said, it's 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes that
Mhm.
can change someone's life. It's
Mhm.
5 minutes that can change someone's perspective or trajectory. And so, like I said, as the elders in this space and people that have navigated through this space and have went on to do amazing things, I really think that it's our duty, you know what I mean, to reach back and bring others up.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And I also want to, because I want to touch back on the question on like the challenges. Is that challenges? Wow, I cannot talk anymore. It's late, y'all. That I have faced as a black woman in the industry. I can definitely say that a lot of those challenges that I did face and encounter, a lot of the reason that I made it through it was speaking to the older black women within the community who helped me, who I was able to reach out to, whether it was a mentor, whether it was a peer, but it was someone who's been in the industry for a while and kind of was just like, yeah, it happens. And this is how you're going to change your mindset and prove them wrong, or this is how you're going to change your mindset and make it work for you until you don't need it anymore. So it's definitely important to pay it forward and just to provide a space for those new people to come in and have that same support and guidance getting through the industry, and also just having those candid conversations and being transparent about what it is like to be in the industry as a minority or as a woman, because it can be challenging sometimes. It's very rewarding, but it can have its downfalls, and you do need to be prepared for certain moments and instances um, as you're navigating this. So just being transparent is also important too.
Yeah, just really, it just all boils down to community, right? I think
Mhm.
community, we use it in our personal lives, we use it, in our professional lives. And I just think the more community that you build, the stronger it is, the faster we can get to where it is that we need to be. So if there are any questions, I can't see the chat. Can you see the chat?
um la, la, la. Was your mom supportive? Yes, my mother was supportive. I said it like that because that was my
After she was disappointed. That's how it is, y'all. Y'all gonna disappoint y'all parents all the time.
they
So
will
listen,
always be supportive at the end of the day.
always they gonna talk now. They gonna lecture you and tell you how you making the biggest mistake ever. But trust me, I am living proof. I am living proof. My dad is so very, very, very proud of me and the things that I accomplished. But he didn't see it at the beginning. And one thing that you guys have to understand is the vision is for you. It's not
Mhm.
for everyone else. The vision was given to you So once you execute it, that's when the people will get on board. But it's going to be some adversity in the beginning.
Absolutely. And then this is another amazing question. Have you ever been rejected from a job you really wanted or felt meant for you? If so, how did you bounce back from that? Girl, yes. And
Girl, what
yes,
was
I
the
have.
job, girl? What was the job you just knew had your name on it?
I'm going to be politically
Yeah,
correct
we go.
because I don't know who's watching and how this might affect me. But yes, Rachel, I have been rejected from a job that I was overly qualified for, and it was handed to someone who was less qualified than myself. Um, and when I tell you, it pissed me off. I was filled with rage, anger, confusion, just self doubt, sadness, all of the things, and so many other emotions. And I wanted to go in there and curse everyone out and flip tables, and I did. I
Girl,
wanted to.
not flip the tables. You can't be at the people place flipping.
I wanted. When I tell you I wanted to, that was the level of anger that I was at because I was so mad that I wasn't selected for this role. And then, of course, some of the feedback that I got on why I wasn't selected was like, oh, technical knowledge isn't that important sometimes, or oh, you didn't appear as confident as the other person, yada yada. Anyways, because I know
Lies, all lies.
that's what I said. So you gonna lie? So you gonna play in my face? So that's how it felt. So you see why I wanted to flip tables and curse everybody out.
It's giving Shador Sanders.
What is wrong with y'all? Um, so it has happened to me, and I did go through all of those emotions. But again, how I bounced back from that was really leaning on community heavily. My family and my friends had to hold me back, like, girl, don't go in there acting a fool. Like, you cannot do that. So community definitely helped calm me down. I could also say the power of prayer, the way I had to pray to God on the situation. And then I also had to remember, no matter what job you get or you don't get, it does not determine your worth. It does not determine your knowledge, what you're prepared for. And when one door closes, a better one opens. So you just have to change your mindset in that. You can still be angry because I still roll my eyes at the situation. But but I know that situation did not break me and that I survived it. And that something better is coming for me. So it's a tough situation, but you just do your meditation, pray, talk to your community, and you will get through it because you are amazing. So that's what I had to tell myself. That was my pep talk to myself.
Yes, that was the self talk. Like,
That was the something I had to do self pep talks too in the
yeah, no,
morning.
you have to,
I
because
did.
I think that's the story of Black women's lives. Like,
Hmm.
overqualified, underlooked, overlooked.
Hmm.
It just is what it is. We're living in the
Yeah.
shambles that is that. So we have another question from Sierra. As a cosmetic scientist, do you ever find your job repetitive, or do you feel as if you're constantly doing something different and learning new concepts?
That's a great question. I would say when I worked in the lab, sometimes it would be a little repetitive, but I think it was also just challenging because I was able to experiment in my lab and make new things, even when it wasn't a project. Sometimes I would just be like, I just want to create something and I want to try this out. So that was always fun for me. Um, so I would say there are some moments of it being repetitive, but at the end of the day, you can always tweak in and make something fun at the end, when you have the time. And then I would say also, what's the other part? Do you feel as if you're constantly doing something different and learning new concepts? Um, you're definitely always going to learn new concepts. There's always a new trend coming out. There's always a new raw material or a new way to use the raw material. So there's always something to research and learn and understand if you're outside of the lab. So it's there could be repetitive moments, but it's also just how you focus your time and what you use your time on, and you can definitely learn something new every day as well.
Yeah, I could kind of see that, and that was another thing that I wanted to look into it at the Science and Beauty camp, because we were doing a lot of repetitive things. It was like lectures and labs, and it's cool, but at some point it gets repetitive, right? And
Mhm.
so, like I said, I introduced the beauty panel. I introduced the mental health component to the programming, where the girls got to understand different breathing techniques and things like that, so they're not turning over tables when things don't go right for them
Mhm.
and getting all super upset, because like you said, this is a very challenging industry, and there are going to be situations where things don't work out in your favor. So I just really wanted to give them as many tools as I could to help them navigate through this, and still give them, their lecture time, still give them their time to be in the lab, but just also more so building more well-rounded young women is kind
Mhm.
of the goal.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And honestly, sometimes you have to do stuff over and over to get better at it. So sometimes repetitive isn't bad.
Yeah, it's not
There have
bad.
been, yeah, sometimes it's not bad. There have been times where I had to make the same batch over and over and over again because something just wasn't right. So it was a learning curve, but it was me doing the same batch every day over and over for like several days until I got it right. So again, a learning curve, but a little repetitive.
No, amazing. So, Taylor, we're going to get ready to wrap up here. So, tell the people what's coming up for you next.
No, I don't know. No, just joking. Um, More job opportunities. That's one. Two, stay tuned for what's going on with behind the scenes of Black Beauty. Me and Jasmine will be putting things in the works. I'll also be volunteering at the Science of Beauty in New Orleans for Xavier University of Louisiana. Super excited for that. So excited. So yeah, you guys, there will be more things and they will be amazing. So I will just follow me and you'll find
Yes.
out.
Drop your socials so everybody can keep up with you.
Yeah, let me drop my social so y'all can let me join the chat.
Do all the things. Yes, we are so excited to have you at our Xavier stop or our HBCU tour at Xavier, representing your brand. And I know it has to be amazing to go back to your alma mater and
Yeah,
really just that be the things the
I'm
people
so
don't be understanding.
excited.
It's really, you be like, I made it. Like,
Full circle moment.
full
Full circle
circle
moment. Like
moment.
I was in
Yes.
the labs learning and now I'm in the labs teaching
Teaching.
y'all.
It's levels to this. So thank you so very much, Taylor. We enjoyed
Yeah.
this conversation. It was so informative. We're so excited about all the amazing things that you and Jasmine have coming up. Building your community of like-minded individuals that are going to help push us to the forefront of this space. So I would like to thank you so much for being a guest on Unlock the Science of Beauty. And with that, we are signing off. Everyone have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye everybody.
Bye.